or vice versa to me. So we're called to order. I'd like to have a mover for adoption of the open session agenda. Councillor Myers, can you do the honor for us, please?
Certainly, thank you.
Thank you.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Hughes. Be it resolved that the council meeting agenda of May 20th, 2020 be adopted as circulated.
Thank you. Councillors, any comments or edits proposed to the agenda? Seeing none, we'll call the vote on that. All in favor? All right, I see everybody's hand. That's carried. Moving to correspondence. Disclosure of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof. Any pecuniary interest tonight? I know there's a report at the very end with regard to fire. Councillor McLaren usually declare on that, but I didn't see anything else. But anybody? Oh, I see a hand up. Sorry, Councillor McLaren?
Yes, I'll declare pecuniary interest to that.
On the last
firefighter at the fire department full time.
All right, thank you, Councillor McLaren. And seeing no other declarations tonight. All right, we're moving on to we have public information section. We have no presentations tonight. So we're going to move to 4.2, notices and information by staff and members of council. So I'm sure we have a few updates from staff. We have several staff here tonight, so I'll start with our acting CAO, Mr. Patterson. Is there anything you'd like to call on staff for or report yourself, please?
Certainly, Your Worship, through you to council. There are not a lot of staff notices this evening, other than I'll bring to light discussion on the Millers Road landfill. Restrictions have been adjusted at the Millers Road landfill. I won't say eased because I think we have maintained as much safety in the new way we're doing it. But in essence, appointments and restricted access are no longer an issue. We're just handling and processing money differently. So no one is paying in cash, but they're back to regular landfill hours. The other thing I will bring to light is Baggs Road is planning on implementing a similar program there to what we're doing at Millers Road now. So they're making some adjustments to move back towards a normal operation in terms of hours and restrictions, while maintaining precautions by just changing and adjusting the process.
Thanks, Mr. Patterson. Yeah, we're kind of all evolving to what appears to be a new normal for a little while. So and kind of a learning curve for all of us. Councillor McLaren, do you have a question or comment on that? Please go ahead.
Yes, can Mr. Patterson give us the dates that he expects these changes to be implemented?
Go ahead, Mr. Patterson.
Certainly, Your Worship, through you to council, Millers Road is already implemented, and the Baggs Road site will, I believe it's tomorrow, the appointments will stop, but there will be an adjustment and change period to allow for a lag time in terms of going back to the 2-bag restriction. So that has yet to be confirmed, but I believe it's going to be Thursday of next week is when we would go back to the 2-bag limit, to give people an opportunity to sort of shift gears and to give us an opportunity to get it in the NRT.
Thanks, Mr. Patterson. Mr. McLaren, does that answer your question as well as
yes.
for now? Thanks.
Yes.
Any other staff have updates? We have Christine on and our treasurer, Mr. Smith. Seeing no updates. I know you both have reports later tonight, so I'm sure we'll get some news then. With regard to council updates, would any councillors like to provide updates or comments?
I lost your audio.
Please go ahead, Reeve Doncaster. Sorry.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, just briefly, just to let council know that the rural forum of FCM continues to meet weekly. I couldn't go through all of the issues that we're discussing, but just be rest assured that, you know, FCM is lobbying on all municipalities' behalf. There has been some conversations with provinces with respect to emergency operating funds, and it's getting a lot of traction. But so now some of the conversations are focusing around recovery and what we can do to help municipalities and businesses, and a lot because of the season that we're in, the tourist industry. They're really hard hit right now, and it's difficult. And then recognizing the fact that all of the tourist industry and festivals and events, and think of something like Summerfest or, you know, Fiddle Fest, I think is what they call it in Pembroke. But all of the businesses that support those events that aren't being affected today, but they're going to be affected, you know, in September and October and November, when they're not seeing the revenues that they would normally recognize from all the events that now are canceled and aren't going to happen. So anyway, I'll leave it at that. I just, I keep meeting with that, with some of the FCM committees, and OVTA we met today actually, and that the county and the OVTA and ODO, which is Ontario Highlands Tourist Organization, are developing a recovery plan to help out. So anyway, leave it at that.
Thank you, Reeve Doncaster. I have noticed there's a lot of communication from the Tourism Association Industries of Ontario and the county tourism, and I do recognize that industry is potentially quite hard hit, especially even going through the summer. So any suggestions people have on things that we can do to assist? I know operating will be a bit different, but certainly if you're traveling this summer and you can travel local, to use our local or even Ontario facilities, that's a positive thing, I think, for these industries that are being hard hit. I see Councillor Hughes has her hand up, so please go ahead, Councillor. Your mute mic, please.
Okay, had to mute my dog. Just something I saw just a few minutes ago online that might be of interest, and that is that the CBC National this evening apparently is doing a feature story on the Renfrew County Paramedic Service and their handling of the COVID-19 situation. So that's pretty good for them to be featured there.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Hughes. They're a very innovative group, for sure. Any other councillors have anything they want to mention tonight? I have a couple of things. I know I saw Councillor Myers there with me. Maybe some of the rest of you were at the near the hospital yesterday for the flyover by Garrison Petawawa and their Chinook, and I'm trying to think of the other, Griffin helicopters. It's basically a military flyby as a show of thanks to our frontline local healthcare workers and all workers that are frontline in the community, and to the residents of the community who have been very resilient and compliant and respectful of the situation we're all in. So that there was a good social distance crowd had turned out, and it was kind of impressive to see even just the sound. So I think everybody, it was a nice diversion. So I felt that people were moved by the show of support from the military, and certainly they've been kind of hard hit lately too. So many thanks to them. Also, I noticed today in the NRT that it's World Bee Day. So that's bumblebees, and thanks to the NRT for bringing that to everyone's attention. They had a whole page of that, but certainly lots of facts and puzzles about bees, which are very critical to our ecological health and our food chain. And certainly if any of you have kids, I'm sure they'd be interested in seeing that. There's some puzzles and stuff. A few other things that have come across my desk. There still are a number of COVID-19 cases coming out in Ontario. I think yesterday the number was 420, which kind of went back up from a downward trend. So as the province begins opening and more people leave their homes, both the province, the Premier today, and our Renfrew County Medical Officer of Health has recommended all citizens wear masks, where physical distancing of 2 meters is a challenge. So for example, grocery shopping. And I have had a phone call, a couple of voice messages from residents, I guess wanting to call and just indicate some frustration that they don't feel people are reminding or recognizing the importance of wearing masks in tight indoor quarters. So I am mentioning that again tonight, and I respectfully suggest that we attempt to model our best practice, the best practice with regard to mask wearing, where in public or indoor areas. I understand in most of the cities it's sort of very common practice, and you stick out like a sore thumb if you're not wearing one. So I think we've been a little lucky here. We don't have the same levels of infection maybe, or that we don't know about here, but certainly mask wearing in close quarters is something that we probably all should be practicing. And on that same note, I think with the situation being a reality for the foreseeable future, outdoors activities are simply safer than indoor activities. And so if there's anything as a community that we can do to figure out how to enlarge our urban spaces to accommodate more pedestrians, even in our downtown areas, to help our businesses. They haven't approached me, and I don't know if they will, but I'm just anticipating that they may want to move more of their business outside. So we might want to start thinking about how we could do that for businesses that maybe are hard hit because people won't be comfortable, for example, having coffee inside or dining inside or shopping inside as much as they used to. And I know many businesses are starting with sort of limited access, and that's great. I'm just trying to think down the road, and maybe we can consider how we might get out ahead of that. Any thoughts from council on that? I'm sure I'd appreciate, and maybe something to think about for our staff going forward. I have also been thinking about Mckenzie's high school graduation. It looks like as of yesterday, school is not going back. And it's unfortunate for the kids. They aren't going to have a normal graduation as per normal years. And I'd like to see if there's something we as a community can do to help recognize those students that have pretty much spent their academic careers in Deep River and are graduating from Mckenzie. I don't know if there's anything that we can do. I have noticed in the States, I believe that there's some signs or banners going around. So maybe there's putting that as a challenge to counselors or staff. If you've got any ideas, please send those forward. I think we've got maybe something we could do there. And I think I'll just leave with Diana Ficina from the Deep River Nursery School. I've reported before that they are working towards an emergency childcare center. I maybe in a number of years or a number of months before regular childcare centers are opened. She did give me an update that although they aren't going to be open by May 25th, they should be by June 1st. There's a lot of approvals they have to go through and a lot of procedures and equipment they have to put in place. So kudos to them for, again, making that effort to help support our medical and frontline workers with a center that will be available soon for their use, limited as it may be. So that's all I really want to say tonight. We have no deputations. So going on to consent matters. Correspondence, there's a number of items of correspondence. So as per normal, I'm going to read through them. If you want them extracted, the correspondence, let me know. If you just want to make a comment on them without any change or any proposal, then just stop me and you can make the comment. So the first item is a 6.1.1, a notice of application for consent, part lot 4, range A, Deep River. It's from the county. It's in regard to formalizing an existing laneway driveway from St. Mary's School to Highway 17 that currently provides access to St. Mary's School, but it's across property owned by the Roman Catholic Episcopal. And apparently the church is said to be in agreement and wish to formalize that severance. So as you know, they have applied for a severance, and the motion is for Deep River staff to reply. The second item is 6.1.2, which is a request from Ross Judd, CEO WCCT, for a letter of support from the town of Deep River, as well as the township of Laurentian Hills, to WCCT's submission to the CRTC for application to the broadband fund to improve service to several underserved areas of Deep River and Laurentian Hills. So I'm recommending that we sign back a letter of support. Today I was sent a copy of a letter of support on behalf of WCCT issued by MPP John Yakubuski. So I don't keep getting people cut off, but if somebody wants to, if I lose you and I don't respond, it's probably because your Zoom layout changed and got covered by my agenda, so please speak up. Next item was 6.1.3 was some copy of some email correspondence between myself, Ms. Armstrong, and Mr. Wally Zagrodny related to marina fees, which I mentioned last week I'd bring forward. 6.1.4, a letter from Rob Burton, Mayor of Town of Oakville, regarding rent relief advocacy letter. Basically asking for some modifications to the rent relief program. 6.1.5, Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan, a letter from Mary McCafferty, which all council already received. And I did call Mary and informed her of council's decision at our last meeting, which she was unaware of when she sent that letter. She didn't send any change or anything. 6.1.6, it's regarding, it's from Global First Power regarding a telephone town hall tonight, which I believe starts at 7 p.m. You may have got a phone call. I think most residents in town did get an automated phone call from Global First Power, inviting them to attend this sort of interactive internet town hall regarding this micro modular reactor project at Chalk River. And the other piece of correspondence, the last one, is a big document. I have seen it. Ms. Mellon has one on her desk. It's the official plan amendment number 25. Basically, it's an updated County of Renfrew official plan, part of their 5-year review, from Charles Cheeseman, the manager of planning services at the county. So that is identified to be received. So anything proposed for extraction or comment at that this time? Okay, seeing none. Can we have a mover then for
Sorry, Mayor Dion.
Sorry,
Sorry.
go ahead.
Can I just ask a question on the official plan, the county one?
Sure.
Just a question. It doesn't change the resolution, but just either for the Reeve or someone else, if there's anything significant in there that that affects Deep River, I guess.
Oh, go ahead, Reeve.
So Deep River, so 3 municipalities in Renfrew County have their own official plans, Deep River being one of them. So there's a lot of things in there that don't affect us. There is a section that references our official plan and a few things. The only one, the only significant one for the town of Deep River itself is within the county's official plan at the requirement of the province is that the county had to stipulate growth allocations for each municipality. And outside of that, so, and I don't have, I have the document over here. I have a copy of the document too, if anybody wants a hard copy to go through. I forget what our growth allocation was, but basically it's the county used numbers based on, I'm going to say, the last 10-year average for growth in certain municipalities. The challenge with it is that the county proposed to the province that these be growth projections, but they're actually growth allocations. So let's say Deep River is 3%. So if we were to grow, if we were to have development outside of 3%, we would actually have to do an official plan amendment to allow any more development outside of that. So it's potentially an issue. And that 3% I'm just picking out of the air. I think it's more than that. I don't think we'll get to it, but who knows? So that's the only significant thing that would affect the town of Deep River.
Thanks, Reeve Doncaster. Yes, I would concur that the growth allocations are probably our potential challenge. I did look at them the other day, and I believe it's like identifies up to 4,500 people or 4,700 people, which is not really a large amount in a 5 or 10 year program. I can't remember the difference, but yeah, that is somewhat of a concern, and it was, and I believe the county pushed back on that. However, this is what it is right now. So it's not an immediate concern for us, but down the road, it could become one. Thank you, Reeve Doncaster. Councillor Hughes, any more questions on that?
Nope, that's good. Thank you.
So could you please move a motion to receive the correspondence as identified?
Right. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Myers. Be it resolved that all of the proposed resolutions shown in section 6.1 correspondence of the agenda be approved and adopted by council in the order that they appear on the agenda and sequentially numbered.
Thank you. Any discussion of that motion? Seeing none, we're going to call the vote on that. All in favor? All right, seeing everybody's hands up. Thank you. That's carried. The next item on the consent agenda are minutes, and there's only one set of minutes. I have one very minor modification on the set of minutes. Myself, it's section 4.2.2, Ms. Mellon's spelling of Mr. Zagrodny's name. I think that it starts with a Z and not a D, so I'll just fix that. Any other, could we have a mover, Councillor Fitton, on the council meeting minutes, and then I'll ask if there's any other adjustments.
Certainly. Moved by myself, seconded by Reeve Doncaster. Be it resolved that the council meeting minutes of May 6th, 2020 be approved.
Thank you. Are there any other comments or questions regarding the minutes or accuracy issues? All right, seeing none. Quiet, calm group tonight. We'll call the vote on minutes. All in favor? And those are carried. Thank you. Next items are reports. So there's several reports on the consent agenda. I'll go through them. And again, just let me know if you wish to comment or extract. So the first report is 6.3.1, request for proposal for marketing consulting services. I prepared a memorandum that covers the RFP for marketing services. And we have Christian Kaiser, I believe, in the audience, who's one of the co-chairs of the marketing task force. The second item on the agenda is recreation updates and information memorandum. Christine Armstrong, Recreation Program Coordinator. And that has a lot of updates on the recent program. I am going to say I did have a couple of comments just to say, not to extract it, but just to say it's a good report. Thank you. I'm very happy to see guidance being provided by some of the recreational societies like the Life Saving Society on how to modify and operate during this unusual time. So those are probably quite helpful to our staff as we go forward. Very happy to see the summer pool shutdown is currently underway now and will not require further shutdown in August. And I guess I did have one question, which I didn't really see in there, and it might be more a public works issue, but is guidance coming on washroom maintenance protocols or frequency to support outdoor recreation this summer? For example, the washrooms at Grosse Park, the Yacht and Tennis Club and Marina, the Lemire Beach for the farmers market and things like that. And I guess I'm just asking staff generally if they know if protocols are coming from the county or elsewhere to give some guidance on that.
Certainly, Your Worship, through you to Council, I would anticipate that we'll see direction from public health on that, is what we're hoping for anyway. It is something we're struggling with in regards to public washrooms as we look at Grosse Park, Lemire Beach, and typically Pine Point, we have Johnny on the spots provided by a contractor, as well as some of the playing fields. We have not moved ahead with the playing fields as their largest group of users is the soccer club, which are not proceeding. So that's sort of the status right now. None of those washrooms are open at the moment, but we're certainly keeping tuned to announcements and what's going on in terms of that. The difficulty, of course, is the frequency of cleaning and things like that. It's quite a challenge.
Okay, thanks. Anything that the health unit can provide would be awesome, I think, for our users and for our staff. Got a couple of hands up there. Reeve Doncaster and then Councillor Hughes. Reeve Doncaster.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, I too was happy to see some of the information coming forward on how to open some of those facilities and programs and things like that. The one thing I just wanted to point out is, and I think the financial numbers are very important, and I'm just suggesting that, and I'm assuming that the treasurer is keeping track of this for all of our departments, so that at the end of the day, whenever that comes, I suspect it never will come, but what we know what the financial implications, both on the revenue side and so the lost revenue side, and
Savings.
and added costs. So there is going to be added costs to continue to provide the services that we provide. So those will be important for us to know moving forward. So thank you.
Councillor Hughes.
Thank you. Yeah, just looking at the numbers too. I mean, obviously, if I'm looking at it correctly, you know, we lose out quite a bit in terms of lost revenue, even with the savings. But as Reeve Doncaster says, we just need to monitor it. Just a couple of questions on the different scenarios. So looking ahead to summer camps, I mean, I think we heard that Premier Ford is planning on letting day camps go, but who knows when and what the conditions will be. So it's good to have some different scenarios. What implications does that have for hiring staff? Do we hire staff for these camps as a summer grant program? And what's the status of those? Or what would be the impact on hiring staff if it's only 2 weeks or something?
Sorry, Mr. Smith, go ahead. Your mic is on.
There we go. Thank you. Thank you, Your Worship. Through you to council. Most of the summer positions this town of Deep River have are actually not funded through grants, but through the budgetary process that we take on 100% of the costs. So would not have an impact necessarily on the grants, but it would be more of a difficulty in filling position as getting the candidates, getting them up to speed, trained, and qualified to do some of the jobs for, say, a 2 or 3 week position might be very difficult and might have additional costs in trying to get the staffing in the right thing. And we don't even know what the ratio may be. So some of the programs may actually become, instead of losing substantially more, as we have to have may higher ratio or less kids than what were originally budgeted.
These are typically usually high school students. Is that correct?
Mr. Patterson has his hand up. Please go ahead.
Your Worship, through you to council, if I might refer to Ms. Armstrong, I think we'll have some good input in terms of work that her and her staff have been conducting to try and prepare for a variety of eventualities, including program flexibility, creating new smaller programs, and how they would deal with the staffing on that. Over to you, Christine.
Hope I unmuted correctly.
Yeah.
Okay, first time. Okay, so what I did is I did a couple different scenarios based on if the program was to run for 8 weeks, 6 weeks, and 4 weeks. Unfortunately, we this would be at the maximum based on numbers that we had last year. We don't know at this time whether or not the amount of children that we're allowed to congregate are going to be extended. So a program that we might only be allowed to have 5 students or 5 children, we don't know what the staff ratio should be then, because we, you know, a 4-year-old, how are you going to keep a 4-year-old isolated from other children during a camp? So we might have to up the amount of staff that we have. And they are high school children, so high school students. So the training is very important, and we're going to be waiting for guidelines from the health unit for that. But we did do some different scenarios, but we are going to start planning our programs as if they were going to run, so that if we do get notification that we can run the programs, we're in a good place to do so. More importantly, the sports fields being open, you know, I'm looking, the sports camp might be able to run, possibly the science camp and the arts camp. Playgrounds, on the other hand, could be of a more difficult program to run with the students and the children that we're going to be working with.
Yeah, and the way things are going, you don't get a lot of notice, right?
No, and we can open our booking and we can monitor that. We can also do refunds. The window might not be very big, so we might have to be prepared that if the camps don't run, we refund the money, just like we did with our spring programs. Mm-hmm. But the window, the opportunity to log on and register at this time has not been open.
And just a last comment, that document that you attached to the end was actually very helpful and quite informative. I forget the organization that put it together, but it really covers a lot of different types of activities, and it kind of really drove home the point that doesn't matter if you're talking about opening the pool or even the town hall, there's a lot of things to think about. Putting up plexiglass and all of those things have costs that are going to be associated with reopening some of those facilities as well. So, and the training, you know, which they talked quite a bit about, just making sure staff are trained. So there's a lot of other costs associated with just reopening, but that was a very, that was a good document. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hughes and Ms. Armstrong. I would also comment that opening day camps, which has been alluded to, is likely to happen this summer, is not probably much different than opening daycares in a way, except they're maybe outside. And so there's, the county early childhood, early years program, they're getting very aware of what you have to do to open a daycare. And I know they've been working with the province quite a bit, so they may be a resource for of help for understanding how that might be facilitated. Just a thought there. I know things aren't going to be clear yet, but we are getting towards the end of May and July is coming. So we don't get a lot of notice, but certainly the county early years program might be a resource there, or even the Deep River Nursery School. Plus, as Councillor Hughes said, the documents that are all attached there, like the Life Saving Society, is very useful. Mr. Patterson, you've got your hand up. Go ahead.
Certainly, Your Worship, through you to Council. The other thing that's really important to note that we're really uncertain of is when we might get these announcements. But the other piece is what the uptake will be. On one hand, we might expect the uptake to be much lower than normal enrollment due to sort of people being very cautious. On the flip side, we may see a substantial increase in uptake because people have been sort of restricted access to any kind of programs, and these kids have spent an awful lot of time in their homes with their parents, and there may be a real appreciation for a program that parents can enroll their kids in. So it's a little bit hard to predict where that might go, and that'll be some of our challenge to adapt.
Thank you. I think, Mr. Patterson, some of the PPE that's being identified for the daycares, maybe we need to make sure we have some up for ourselves for this summer. Because I think there will be some uptake for sure. Okay, no more discussion on that one. We'll move to the next one, which is Report 2020 Finance 010 Financial Master Plan. Any discussion or extraction of that? I'm not seeing, yeah, okay, I see nobody's got their hand up. Nobody's read that. And then the last number is regarding fire negotiations, and due to the declaration, we'll extract that one. And I think that's it. So is there any other reports then that I've gone through that any councillor wishes to have extracted? So we've just got one right now. Councillor Hughes?
Sorry, no, not an extraction, but just a quick question on the financial master plan is, do we have a date for when we are expecting this to be done?
Thank you. Mr. Patterson, or Mr. Smith, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through to you, to Council. The grant timeline has it due basically in August, but due to the fact that COVID has delayed the start of the project, because the announcement with the forms all came as the COVID pandemic rolled out. It's expected probably be into the fall. We don't have an exact, but we're trying to get it done as soon as we can. So early to mid fall, late summer at the if we're lucky.
Councillor Hughes, okay.
Thank you.
You're good with that? All right, any other wish for extraction? Calling once, seeing none then. We're gonna call for Doncaster, can you move the reports, save and accept the fire report, please?
Certainly, Your Worship. And I would just point out, I think we lost Councillor McLaren, or I certainly can't see him anyway.
Oh, he may have just dropped off because of the...
Okay. So moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Fitton. Be it resolved that all the proposed resolutions shown in section 6.3, save and accept item 6.3.4, reports of the agenda be approved and adopted by council in the order they appeared on the agenda and sequentially numbered.
Thank you. Any discussion of the motion? All in favor? All right, I see you 1, 2, 5, 6 hands. All right, that's carried. And then we go to the item extracted, which was report 6.3.4 6.4, item 6.3.4, report 2020 CAO 004, fire negotiations, Sean Patterson. Any questions or comment regarding that report by council to Mr. Patterson? Oh, Reeve Doncaster?
So just a question, I guess you extracted it. I didn't particularly have an issue with the resolution that we had, but are you proposing it be changed somehow?
No, it was only extracted because it was, because that Councillor McLaren declared a pecuniary interest,
I see, fair enough. Yeah.
so it could be dealt with separate. Any comments or questions on the report or the motion? Okay, seeing none, calling the vote. All in favor of the report and motion? All right, that's carried. I'll see if everybody
So-
there.
Are we assuming the same mover and seconder for the other reports?
Yeah, we need it.
Oh, sorry, we didn't have that.
Yeah.
So
So
that was for all of them.
yeah. So I'll move 6.4,
Okay, thank you.
6.3.4. Sorry.
Thank you. Okay,
I'll
move.
second.
Thank you, Councillor Hughes. We'll try that again. All in favor? All right, that's carried. Okay, so finally we're on to bylaws. We have the bylaw regarding the property tax financial relief due to COVID bylaw. Item 7.1. Not sure if council had a chance to review that. It appears to be in line with a resolution in our decision from last week. Any questions? First of all, we'll put it on the table. Councillor Rochon, can you move that bylaw onto the table, please?
Be it resolved that the following bylaw be read first, second, and third time, numbered, passed, signed by the mayor and the clerk, and the seal of the corporation be affixed thereto. Bylaw number 23/2020, a bylaw to adopt property tax financial relief due to COVID-19.
Thank you. And that's seconded by Councillor Myers. Is that correct? Councillor Myers, you're good? Okay. Any discussion of the bylaw that's on the table? Okay, I just have one question. It has nothing to do with the bylaw, but how are we communicating that to ensure that those with the most need are aware of the ability to apply? And I guess that's really to the CAO. Okay, Mr. Smith, please go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship, through to you to council. The within the normal city's weekly web ad in the NRT has including a section on this. It will also be going up on the website tomorrow with the application form. And as people inquire with the town, we are informing them of the program. If they come in and inquire, it's one of those ones, it's hard to you can communicate to all different sources. It's hard to reach everyone who would be of need, but we are trying our best to reach all of the sources to our communication needs.
Okay, well, if it's on our website and in our newspaper ad, that's great. And as counselors, I think we can certainly share the message if we're talking to people and they have concerns. I know we had a couple of letters of concern. Mr. Patterson, you've got a further comment?
Just add, we will push it on Facebook as well when it goes on the website.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Hughes, did you have a comment or question?
Just to add the Facebook page to the list of places that it should be put.
Good suggestions. All right, so we've got the bylaw on the table for the property tax relief. Then we're going to call the vote if there's no more discussion. Oh, Councillor Fitton has a question. Councillor Fitton, go ahead. And Councillor Myers.
Sorry, it was just more of a comment. I'm happy to keep this moving forward. Do we have, and it's more probably procedural, if we find that, we've deferred everything till the end of September right now, if we find that they haven't opened up, take for example, hair salons, that type of business are still not open whatsoever, we have the ability to potentially open up this, I guess would be for a reapplication if certain businesses go on for the duration of the summer for this?
I'll put that through to staff. I think I know the answer, but I'll let Mr. Smith respond. Go ahead, Mr. Smith.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you to council. It's one of those ones, it's hard to read what the future shall hold, including going into the final tax rate bylaw for planning. It does look like things will open up, but if things stay restricted, then yes, we would have to bring back and reopen. In fact, most municipalities, although required to bylaw, haven't really gone to the step that we have. We're looks like one of the first out of the gates and actually getting the bylaw passed, which made it a little more interesting when trying to look for wordings.
Thank you. Does that answer we've got a few other questions. Councillor Fitton, does that answer your question?
Yeah, that's what I suspected. I just wanted to make sure.
You can relook at it in the fall if things don't change much. Councillor Myers and then Councillor McLaren. Councillor Myers, go ahead.
Thank you. It's just a question, not about the body of the bylaw itself, but on the end, at least what's published on the website on the agenda, there's a Schedule A that has the 2020 municipal tax rates. I just heard Mr. Smith refer to the tax rate bylaw. Will that be coming forward separately? Because I don't really think it belongs on this bylaw.
Good question, Councillor. Good question, Councillor Myers. Mr. Smith, please respond.
Through your worship, through the council, I was actually working on both bylaws simultaneously, so it looks like it got attached to the wrong bylaw. It will be the tax rate bylaws. Just were not. I needed to answer one last question, so they were not ready for the agenda package, so they'll be on the next meeting.
So the table that's attached to the bylaw on the agenda is not part of the bylaw we are approving.
Correct. It will be corrected.
Okay, do we need to amend our motion because of that? I guess I'm looking at staff or the clerk.
Your worship, through you to council, I believe that we probably do need an amendment, but would defer to Jackie.
Yes, since it's attached, I didn't realize that was attached there. I think we should.
In the motion, save and accept the, is it called Appendix A or anything? I don't have to open it now.
Is it on there, Arthur?
It's referred to as Schedule A.
Schedule A. I see Councillor Myers has a comment or question. Do you want to weigh in there, Councillor Myers, on what you think needs to be done?
Well, I don't know what, I mean, it has been published that way, but I would suggest that that it could probably just be deleted because there is no wording within the bylaw itself that refers to a Schedule A or that gives it any kind of force and effect. There's nothing that says, the normal tax rate bylaw would say tax rate for the purpose of the corporation as shown in Schedule A. There's absolutely nothing that refers to a schedule in the bylaw we have, so I don't even, it's really not, our bylaw doesn't give it any force and effect.
Okay.
Looking at it, through your worship to council, looking at it, I agree with Councillor Myers. It's attached there, but it's not actually connected to that bylaw in any way.
Not referred to. Okay. Councillor McLaren, did you have another question or was it the same?
No, I gotta apologize. I was offline for a while. My battery went dead. By the time I got back on, I missed some. The only question I want to ask is, have we tracked our cost for the COVID-19, all the time we spent on this particular thing? Can we apply for any of this money back? Like we did grocery deliveries and stuff, but we tracked all that. We haven't charged it to an account and just shoved it off somewhere. Can someone answer that, please?
Mr. Smith has his hand up, so I'm going to let him speak. Go ahead, Mr. Smith.
Thank you, Your Worship, through you to council. The staff have been tracking through both the expenses through a project code and we've been tracking through our timesheets COVID-related expenses. Currently, there are no programs available that will allow the town to recoup the costs. However, we were proactive in trying to track as much as we could, so that in the event a program does come available and requires the information, it is relatively easy for us to extract the information for the reporting.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I know Ms. Armstrong, in her report, there's quite a bit of tracking with regard to recreation costs too, and recreation savings and costs, both sides. There's some staff savings, but more staff or more costs that we're facing right now. Thank you very much. So we've got the bylaw on the table. Thank you, Councillor McLaren, for coming back on. You really just missed the one item that you had recused yourself on anyway, so you didn't miss too much.
Worked out.
Yeah, it worked out, but that's why we thought you'd gone off. Okay, so we're calling the vote on the property tax relief bylaw as stated. So all in favor? And that's carried. So moving to confirmatory bylaw, Councillor Myers, can you confirm, please?
Certainly, thank you. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Hughes. Be it resolved that the following bylaw be read a first, second, and third time, numbered, passed, signed by the mayor and the clerk, and the seal of the corporation be affixed thereto. Bylaw number 24, 2020, a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the council of the town of Deep River at the meeting held on May 20th, 2020.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor? All right, thank you. And to adjourn us, Councillor Hughes. Can you-
Quick question.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Just Councillor Rochelle had asked if this was being live streamed on YouTube, and I just wanted to reach out to Jackie to see if that was the case, or if we're just going to post the recording after the fact.
It is being live streamed.
Okay. Because it's, for some reason, it's hard to find that YouTube page. I don't know why. Anyway.
So if you go to the YouTube channel and then it's under the Corporation of the Town of Deep River, put that in and it should come up right away.
We might have to put the corporation in. Councillor Roshan, you've got your hand up. Go ahead if you've got a question on that.
So the only reason I bring it up is because I'm getting messages right now from some people who are watching it, and I'm on it right now, and I see all of our meetings except right now. So I don't know if there's like a problem with the upload or whatever, but it is not. Like I see April 1, April 8, April 22, May 6th, but I don't see anything live.
Okay. I'll check that. I have not signed on to the YouTube, but I will check that, and then I'll put this it is being recorded, so I will automatically post it right away if it's not there.
Thank you. Okay. Councillor Hughes, then, can you, if there's no more discussion on that, I do appreciate staff trying to get that up. Councillor Hughes, can you adjourn us, please?
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Rochon. Be it resolved that council hereby adjourns the meeting at 6:54 p.m.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate your input, and please give me any feedback you have on those ideas I had. Okay. Thanks very much.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Have a good night.
Yeah.
Good night.
take care.